I'm taller now.
How'd that happen? I want to know how you did that.
Good morning. We are live. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You're getting shy on me.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet Kyle Guilfoyle. Again, Kyle, you've been on the show a couple of times. We talked about Nimble Bar Company, your entrepreneurial startup. And today I don't want to talk about Nimble Bar at all. I want to talk about my room. And
let's do it.
It's getting, you think it got bigger?
Well, it just looks different.
I don't know.
What is that red thing in the back, like hanging?
That's a Danish modern lamp.
Oh, that's cool.
We got it at a garage sale. So it's got like a teak arm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got like in our main house up there, it's just got tons of Danish modern stuff in it that I actually inherited from my parents. They were Danish modern when it was just Danish. It wasn't even Danish modern yet. That was back in the 50s when they had this furniture. They got the furniture. Yeah. And Germans go nuts over that stuff, hey? Like, I'm not Danish, I'm German. They go nuts. And apparently now it's gotten so bad, the whole Danish modern thing, that you can't find Danish modern anymore. So they're going Swedish.
Oh, wow. Well, your home is very tasteful. I stayed there once for like, I house sat for you.
Yeah, where you're taking care of my dog. That's right.
Yeah, that's right, Shotzi. And your house is actually on the cover of Boulevard magazine when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's one of those things that I'd like to take credit for it, but all I did was sign checks. My wife did everything. Colleen did everything. So all I did was show up. It's a morning of big confessions here. I don't want to talk about Danish modern, even though that was a great diversion. I want to talk about you, the king of content. I had never seen you out there before. And in the last month or so, you've started turning up everywhere. And not only do you turn up everywhere, because a lot of people turn up everywhere, but you turn up everywhere, and I want to read your stuff, which I would say puts you in the vast minority of people. For me, I look at your stuff and I go, where did you learn this? Because I mean, you haven't, it's like the blues, man. You're too young to have all this valuable teaching stuff. It's just incredible. Like the stuff I read of yours, I go, wow, this is really something. And it's amazing marketing insights and amazing sort of professional insights. What the heck happened? How did you come up and start doing this? You copied everything, didn't you?
Oh, that's definitely how I started.
That's how we all start.
Yeah. By the way, like, thank you. That means a lot. Those comments. Yeah. What happened? So I would say a few things. One, this is kind of a cop-out, I feel, but I'm a voracious reader. Like I read a lot, and what I find, I wasn't always a voracious reader though. I think it really started when I started thinking about business, which happened about less than 5 years ago, where I was like, oh, I really want to start a business. And then that's when I started just like devouring business books. And what I find happens now is I have like a more robust Rolodex that I can draw from. And so in a way I am copying, but I'm kind of copying from different places, and they're just, it's kind of, I'm synthesizing, I guess. So that happened. The other thing is that I just started a business, back in 2017. And we did it in like we talked about this last time, in a pressure cooker kind of way. And I think that I approach a lot of business stuff in I just go all in. And then when I come out the other side, it's that saying, like, you either win or you learn. And in this case, you learn no matter what. And so this is fairly recent, actually, in the last like year or so, where I found that I can actually draw from insights from my own experience, instead of like the insights from other people that I'm synthesizing, which I think is what's giving like, maybe for you, that's what's making it, kind of cut through a little bit, because they're like, it's not the same shit you've heard before, because it's just my own experience. And so I think, yeah, that's how I'd say what changed. The other thing is that there was actually an intentional point about a month, or like a little over a month ago, where I was like, I really suck at promoting content. Like I create tons of it, but then I just don't tell anybody. And I realized that I've just been a real coward about it. You
Mhm.
know, I'm like hiding. And I think a lot of people hide. They hide behind their businesses. They hide in all kinds of ways. And
Well,
so I realized,
there's always something, there's always an excuse, right? There's always
oh yeah,
another thing that's more urgent.
yeah, totally. And so I realized that I had exercised the content creation muscle enough, and now I need to exercise the content promotion muscle and just put it out there. And so I just created a structure for myself where I said every day I'm going to share one thing every day for like 4 weeks, 30 days,
Mhm.
and that's what I did, and that's why you saw my stuff everywhere is because I was literally just you know uh, just really flexing that muscle for that period of time. Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
that totally answers the question. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. What have you
Yeah.
learned?
Um, I have learned this stuff. The stuff that works best is definitely the stuff from my own experience,
Mhm.
um, or at least that's what seems to resonate. I will also say though that the sample size is. I would still say even 30 days or 4 weeks is a small sample size. I have learned for myself that I don't think it's, at least for me, it's not sustainable to create content because I still am, there still is creation as well as promotion. But
Mhm.
what I would find is that I'd either, sometimes I would put stuff out that wasn't quite ready to go out. And I would feel this like pang of embarrassment the next day or the next several days, which I think is actually part of the thing is also just
Mhm.
like being okay with feeling embarrassed sometimes.
Mhm.
So there was that. Some stuff would go up before it was quite ready to go out, and also I started like you get a little burnt out, and so toward the end, I was kind of like it was kind of an afterthought, and I was like, now I'm just doing this to do it, and so now I'm sort of taking a step back, and I'm going to create a new structure for myself, but a longer structure that's more sustainable for more like 90 days. But I'm still working that out right now. But
What does that look like? Early peak. What does it look like?
what's that?
What does the 90-day plan look like? Early peak.
So I think it looks like Monday to Friday, daily, like put something out there. Um, Saturday and Sunday off because I think that breathing room is it really goes a long way. And it's going to be more video stuff, just because it's so you can get just so much out of it. Um,
Mhm.
and I started a podcast, a little like for my company Guest Getter, and so yeah, podcasting, as you know, is an amazing way to create content as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, just it. It's going to be really simple. It's going to be 90 days putting stuff out there every day, Monday to Friday, and there's going to be more video stuff. And I'm also going to dive a little bit more into Twitter. I'm very intimidated by Twitter.
Twitter is always one of those things that was just like, yeah, and there's Twitter. To me, I ignore it. I put all my stuff out there on Twitter, but I don't correspond. I don't read the news. I don't follow people. I don't. It's just one of those things. I think there's limited bandwidth. I love LinkedIn.
I like that.
And Facebook, I've been forced to love because Brand DIY lives there. And that's the only reason I go to Facebook. So you start to learn a little, but Twitter, it just seems to bridge too far. There's too much to learn. What are you learning about Twitter?
Well, it's Twitter over the last like year to 2 years. It's just like just gone up like this in terms of the quality. Um, it's like for me, it's like a search engine where I can tap into the smartest people in the world, and you'd say that about like many platforms, but Twitter,
Mhm.
like it does seem like really smart people are hanging out there. And that's why I'm intimidated by it, because I'm like, I'm not as smart, or I don't know what it is, but so I'm gonna force myself for a little while to just get out there.
Okay, so you come up with an idea, the whole idea of a new concept in branding yourself,
Yeah.
say that you want to share with the world. How do you use Twitter to make that better?
So have you seen like Twitter threads?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of people are saying, and I don't know if I fully buy into this, but a lot of people like they liken it to a blog, So I would probably make first of all, I just write a blog or I'd talk about it on a
Mhm.
podcast, and then I just turn that into like a Twitter thread. But then that's where I'd get stuff, because like I haven't grown a big audience on Twitter. So in terms of like how would I promote that, I don't know. I think it's just like any other platform where it's a matter of just consistently showing up and
Mhm.
putting good ideas into the space.
Do you think that it's easier to rise above because most people lose interest long before they get good?
In general?
Yeah.
Oh,
In general, I think it's true, but in this thought leadership thing, because I look at you and I go, wow, I respect what you're putting out there. I definitely read it because I learn from it.
Mhm.
And the majority of people, I think, my own opinion, they go out there all fire and brimstone, and 30 days later.
yeah, 100%. I go into all these things expecting that it'll take at least 3 times as long as I expect it to, and it's going to be 3 times as hard. And so what happens is people, they go into it without that expectation. They think it's going to be far easier than it actually is. And they also think that there's going to be a reward sooner. And so they ultimately come to this place where they figure the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, and they cast it aside and say, well, that doesn't work. But these things are all like, it's really about, it's that concept of Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, right?
Mhm.
Where if you can really, but you got to show up for years
Yeah,
to
that 1,000 people can sustain a business, right?
very well. It can sustain a business very well, and but it's not a quick thing. And so yeah, I think that's totally it. I think that's why it could be easier to rise above. How do you approach content? Like, what's
I've gone through so many iterations, and I have never thought that this is going to take 3 times as long or be 3 times as hard. And then I just end up sticking with it as I discover that it's 10 times as long and 10 times as hard. So I started out back when I was running Change, my green ad agency. My guys, they said to me, Mark, you got to get out there. You got to be a thought leader. You got to write blog posts. And I never did it. And then my company got bought, and the boss said, your job is to be the thought leader. You got to put out a blog post a week. And so I started doing that, and I got in the habit of it. And I think I've got 200 blog posts now. And I don't know, I look at them and I go, who the hell reads these things? I don't even know. I know that goes from the hundreds to the thousands, the people who read my blog posts. I have never had anybody come up to me and go, I read your blog post, here's $10,000. Nobody ever does that, or nobody's done it for me. And then I thought blog post writing is really, really hard. It takes a lot of time. I put a lot of effort into it. And after, I don't know what, 8-9 years of it and like 200 posts, I was going, is there anything else? And I'd heard about podcasting, and I love a couple of podcasts. And so I started doing podcasts where I would just interview people. And I love doing that. I love sitting, talking like this to people and getting their brains and synthesizing with my brains, then putting it out there. And I have well over 100 podcasts now. And the same thing, I'm just like, nobody's ever walked up to me and said, here's a bag of money, I love your podcast. So I don't know if they work or not, but I know that I stuck with it for a long time, and then I kind of lost interest. And then this came along, and this was forced on me by the guys who were redoing the Brand DIY website. And they said, do you realize a lot of people are downloading the book? Do you want to do something with it? I said, do what? They said, why don't you form a group and you become the sort of the leader of the tribe, putting bits out, highlighting people in the tribe, synthesizing ideas. And I love it. And what I love about it is that it allows me to sort of build this identity around the group, and I get to talk to cool people. And the bits are 15 to 30 minutes. So it's relatively easy on the old ticker. It's not so hard. I can then cross promote it to all the other platforms, and they seem to be getting good pickup. I think we've done 100 plus now of these shows. And I think, each one gets at least 400 or 500 people taking a look at it, and often into the thousands. And I'm like, it's really fun. And so to me, one of the biggest things is it fun? And the business isn't suffering. So there must be something working. I just wish I knew what,
Well, it's really interesting, because that's so I work with restaurant owners, right? And the whole thing that we help them solve is the idea of hope and pray marketing, where they they're basically playing like a social media popularity contest, and that's their marketing, right? And so what I help them do is apply unit economics to their marketing, so they have the same efficiency that like e-commerce businesses do, where they know exactly how much it's costing them to get a customer, blah blah blah. And so, but I'm right there with you when it comes to content in terms of like, well, is it working? I mean, we can look at, I mean, I think you can wager a pretty good guess by looking at like analytics. It really is a top of funnel thing though. I'm actually having, do you know, I'm really excited about this. Do you know Joe Pulizzi? He wrote Content Inc.
Nope.
Okay, he wrote Content Inc. He also wrote Epic Content Marketing. But I am so excited. He's actually going to come on my podcast. I think next week. And I'm really excited to pick his brain about these things and how smaller businesses, because he often references like Red Bull and McDonald's and like huge companies, and how they have this whole content arm of their business. But how did the little guys leverage it in a way that's sustainable? And I still think that is, for me, kind of unclear. Like, how does a restaurant have like, you know, a powerful content arm of their business where they're educating, entertaining all the time? It's possible, and I'm sure that it will help grow their business. But like, how do you really measure it? So yeah.
Well, I know, like from personal experience, I work with clients, and one of my clients, big client, and what we're trying to link content. We create content. What we're doing a lot of testimonial videos. We're doing a lot of thought leadership stuff. And then what we do, we go to the places where the buyers live, or the prospective buyers live, and we do social media district blitzes. So we blitz their district so that they start seeing us, so that when our salespeople walk in the door, they go, I heard of you. And it makes all the difference in the world. But we're having a hard time drawing a thread there too. You know, and I've got people who do this for a living, you know.
Yeah. Well, you might get some ideas from this, because I see some parallels. So I want to touch on one thing, which is like this idea of the thought leader, right? What I'm really, really, really trying to do is just be, I like this term a little better. It's results leader. I don't really care if you think I have good thoughts, but if you see the results that I create, and that's what I talk about, it's just, I find it much more compelling.
It is.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, and so I say that because I just created this case study, which is called it's all about the guest magnet method, which is like this core strategy of my business, which really is like how to take someone who you've never met and then get them into your restaurant and, you know, apply all these unit economics. But there might be some, in terms of like your blanket, like this blitz thing, right? I call them blanket awareness campaigns, where we do something similar, where we'll blanket an awareness campaign in a certain area at a certain time when people are considering, well, you know, do I want a coffee, or lunchtime from the hours of 9 a.m. till like 12 p.m. We'll just like absolutely, you know, just run ads around that time to a specific offer. And then they have to, you know, bring in their phone, and we get their name, email, birthday, and SMS. And so anyways, I'm sort of going in circles here, but that is the system that we use to make it so that we can actually say, oh shit, we know that this is working. So I just think it's like one piece that's missing for most creators, is how do they take that top funnel content and funnel it down into like someone walking into their business, or, you know, whatever.
Well, not only funnel it down, but for all we know, these people, how did you hear about us? Well, my friend told me. No, he didn't. 5 things happened before that, but that's the only one you remember. And that's why old junk mail, direct mail, coupon cutters, they would bring a coupon into the grocery store and say, here's the coupon. And they go, somebody read that one. And they'd be able to track, this coupon works better than that coupon. And I think results leader, better than thought leader, the whole idea that, yeah, we put out really, really good thinking, but we connect it to things that they have to bring in to prove that our thinking is better. I think that's a piece that I'm missing. And I found it really hard to stick it in there. You know, it's because the stuff that we're selling is big stuff. It's not candy bars or cappuccinos. But you know, I guess that's the charm of life, is that you just keep putting it out there. And I love having guys like you on, because you go, I'm going to steal what he does and give it half a twist. Like you said, it's not stealing. If you steal from many, it's art. And so, steal what you're doing. And I'd love to, how do you spell that guy's name? Joe Pulizzi?
Yeah, so Joe, and then Pulizzi. Joe Pulizzi. Here, one sec. I'm gonna grab his. I have his book right here.
Okay, because I'm gonna feature it on the show notes.
Yeah, so it's this guy.
Epic content marketing.
This is one of his books. He also wrote, I think the more well-known one is called Content Inc. And he actually just released a second edition of it, which I think is why I got him to come on my podcast.
Okay, Content Inc.
Yeah, Content Inc.
Okay, I gotta get smart in this, because it's funny because people ask me about it, so I gotta be at least this much smarter than them. That's why I have people like you around. Oh my God, I've gone out of focus. Story of my life. There we are. There we are. I'm gonna check out the Joe Pulizzi thing, and you're gonna put Joe Pulizzi up on Brand DIY when you do that. When you do that interview, you're gonna put it up on Brand DIY for me, will you?
Sure. Yeah. I'll share it. Yep.
Okay. So lessons from today, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong. You have to commit to a certain time. You have to understand it's going to be probably 3 times longer, 3 times harder than you thought. I'm an expert at that. Everything has ended up being 10 times longer, 10 times harder. You have to sit down and you have to go, am I pushing this out to the world in the right way? Mm-hmm. And I think your idea of latching into Twitter and going, all right, I'm going to get a whole bunch of smart people, steal their ideas, then put it back out to them and have them send it to the world, because everybody likes to be quoted. Everybody likes to be part of an idea. That's probably a really smart way of getting your content to a far greater audience. And I know it is. And the whole idea of veering away from thought leadership to results leadership, connecting the idea that content is something that actually gets you traction, which is something I've had nothing but trouble doing. Because to me, I think a lot of it comes down to ego gratification. You put the stuff out there, people say you're really swell, and that's where it ends. Yeah. But it doesn't get you any business.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's that those are good takeaways. And I really think that getting more out of less content as well. So it kind of seems backwards. Like, I think we're talking a lot about creating, but I really think that part of it is also finding a way or a system to get off the hamster wheel and get off the creation hamster wheel and scale promotion and just getting and also, so like something else I'll show you is in the guest magnet method, that is a lead generating piece of content. Like, there is a very intentional purpose behind it, which is the right person raises their hand and they're like, I need help with this. And there are content upgrades throughout it that they can click and then opt in for. And then they go into like, then I really know that piece of content is working. And then I can justify driving ads to it, and I can do all kinds of other things with it, promote it in all kinds of different ways. But it's really about, for me right now, where I'm at is mastering content promotion and scaling that so that I can squeeze more out of less content. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes a ton of sense. I'd love a piece of that.
Yeah.
You want to come help me?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I would love to be a guinea pig for this, learn how you do it, and then use it on my own clients, because it's something it's floating out there, and I have a lot of smart people working with me, but the way you just said it, it makes a ton of sense. It seems simple, and you've got technology for it. So I imagine the guesswork kind of gets minimized.
Yeah, 100%. And then all the, like, when it's a lead generating piece of content and it works, then it's like, you, in a way, you have like the holy grail, and all you really need is like a few pieces of content just like that kind of cover your customers' like key pain points, right? Mm-hmm. And then the SEO becomes worth it. The Facebook ad spend or whatever platform you're using, it all becomes worth it, because you can really apply those unit economics to that piece of content and know, damn, this is working. Whereas like a lot of social media stuff, it's like a drop in the ocean, right? And it really does feel like a popularity contest a lot of the time. So anyways, I'm just very
well, it also goes head on with what Gary Vee talks about. You need to create 60 pieces of content a day, and which I always thought was complete horseshit, but because it's 59 of them are going to be absolutely horrible. And that seems to be the way. It's like to hurt yourself by put too much stuff out there, and you're going, what's it connected to except to see yourself everywhere?
Yeah, and the risk is you become you become associated with being a noisemaker instead of a source of signal, which is what I found with myself as I was getting toward the end of, like, I was kind of burning out and like the content was becoming an afterthought. I started feeling, fuck, I'm just like, this is just noise. Whereas early on when I was like, I had the, ideas and like it was kind of a newer thing, I was a source, like it was signal.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why you need those breathing, like the weekend or whatever. It's just like let things breathe and then come back fresh. So yeah.
Final question. How much time do you put into this every day for yourself?
I would say when I was like in this like structure I'd created of 4 weeks, probably like an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't, there's nothing for free, right?
No. I even wrote a little LinkedIn post that was, I don't know if you saw, but I kind of shared the story of how you and I met just because I saw you promoted this. And even that took me like more than half an hour. It probably took me like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's not even that long.
I know. Nothing comes for free. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah, but
All right. I'm going to follow up with you because I want you teaching me the results leadership model. And you're going to connect us all to your Joe Pulizzi podcast here at Brand DIY. And I'm going to put the little link on your name so folks can look you up when they need you.
Perfect.
It's awesome, Kyle. It is so enlightening. I love where you're going with this, man. Keep it up.
Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
I love it. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.